Your son doesn't want to talk about why he's wearing mismatching socks. Your spouse doesn't want to talk about their bad haircut. Families don't have to talk about everything, but they should talk to plan for an emergency. Pack basic supplies in a go bag: water, canned food, flashlights, batteries, medical supplies, IDs, and some cash. Talk about where you'll meet in case you lose one another. And of course, don't forget to pack the dog treats. Talk to your family and make an emergency plan. Go to nyc.gov/readyny or call 311 to make your family's emergency plan. Brought to you by New York City Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
This is the sound of confidence soaring.
Our mission is to educate, inspire, and honor.
This is the sound of honor roaring.
We should never, never forget those that gave their lives.
This is the sound of a generation rising above.
337 for Bravo Fox Papa.
We want to be involved in the education of young people so that they can take our aircraft and the stories that our pilots tell and realize their own dreams.
The Commemorative Air Force honors the heroes of yesterday while educating and inspiring the heroes of tomorrow.
Your future and how you live your life is dependent on how you think.
You can learn more at commemorativeairforce.org right now.
My muscles ached. I was tired all the time.
My son had a full-blown asthma attack. It came out of nowhere.
The unsettling thing about some symptoms is
I had a fever and these terrible headaches.
you don't always know what's causing them.
It was Lyme disease from a tick bite.
I had West Nile virus from a mosquito.
He had a reaction to cockroach allergens.
Threats to your health can come from unexpected places. Get the facts. Visit pestworld.org. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association.
United by sports. WGSX Lynnhaven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana. Powered by Pepsi. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Transmission starts in 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. The Afternoon Underdogs are taking your calls live. 850-215-6290. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
What is going on? Welcome into the Rib Crib Radio Room. You guys are riding now with the Afternoon Underdogs. I am David Hayes, along with Caveman Rick and Adam Goff, AG. Oh, okay, I see you. We got Ryan Phillips in on the broadcast right now, or on the Facebook side of things. It says, "Hey, Robert." I was like, "Who's Robert?" He's like, "Oh, it says Robert Moriarty is watching." Big shout out to Rob Moriarty and all that he does for our community, as well as Ryan Phillips. And we'll just start it off with a great shout out to Bay Handyman Services, let me not give the number while I don't have it right here in front of me. I was like, let me attempt to do this from memory. But no, Ryan Phillips does a great job. And also Tonka Truck Racing this July 30th will be out at Tri-State. You guys go out there, check them out. Man, we got the 5-year flyway rocking and rolling. 445, we're going to take caller number 5. Just listen for what we got to say about it. And once we open up the phone lines, it is good to go. We had to do it a little bit, not differently yesterday, but we got a little long-winded into a segment. I was like, we started getting calls, and I was like, hold on, I haven't opened up the phone lines yet.
Right.
And then once we did, we got her going. Big win yesterday from David. Good stuff there. Not me, David, but a listener, David. Big shout out there.
Yeah, you just said, forget all the other 5 callers. I'm just going to put my name in it.
Yeah. Man, could you imagine? That's totally unethical.
Well, absolutely.
Like, hey, like David's the winner of the 5-year flyaway.
I don't even think people would be mad at you. They'd just be disappointed. Like, really?
If I'm a listener and the host is like, getting himself, or a person on the part of the show is getting himself 2 tickets to the Braves game and flights and everything paid for. Like, yeah, I'd be ticked. I'd be like, that's wrong.
That's the reason I don't feel like calling in. And
I wish we could enter.
And you know what I mean?
The sad thing about it is,
like, Rick and I are here quite a bit. So
I can't. I'm a sponsor. If I want to, they'd be thinking there's some inside stuff going on.
Same way with AG. Like, y'all guys don't really necessarily, like you just said, right? You don't get a paycheck from here. You pay here. Yep. And still, so, like, you're not.
But that's also one of the perks. Like, we have our guys like Todd Mueller when he comes in on Wednesdays, and we got Tim that comes in on Thursdays, Tim Braddock, and get to talk about your stuff, get the plugs, get the shout outs. It's an ROI, if y'all know what that means.
Return on investment, man. Great stuff. And we've got a great show planned ahead. Coming up in the next segment, we're going to be talking with RJ Yeager, who is on his way to take a physical or has already taken a physical. He signed a undrafted deal or free agent deal with the St. Louis Cardinals. So really excited for him. I know that there's going to be a chip on his shoulder. You don't really want to ask a guy, but, like, what were the emotions that you were going through during draft day, right? Like, you went undrafted last year. You were playing at Mercer, still putting up good numbers. You transfer over to the SEC, play for Mississippi State, All-American, and you still go undrafted. There's got to be that chip on his shoulder. So I'm excited to be able to talk to RJ Yeager, man. Really respect the grind. Roman Quinn, another guy, Carson Dorsey.
I'm wearing Roman Quinn's jersey right now.
And he just signed with the Rays, man. So I'm excited about that for him.
It's all right. I was happy that him being a Philly. He wasn't with us for a short while, too, and then he re-signed. So it happens.
Yeah, he started off the year, I remember, because he was supposed to be on the show. And he was like, man, I hate to cancel, but I have to be by the phone the whole entire time because the lockout had just ended. Right. And so he was ready to sign a deal. So it happens like that all the time. But we do have RJ Yeager. He's going to be on the line with us. Then Sydney Fields, who covers the Arkansas Razorbacks with Fifth Quarter Arkansas, FQ Arkansas, on Twitter. And then we've got Sam Kavaris, a longtime reporter and he covered the Jaguars down in Jacksonville for a long time. And there's a cool piece of information I just found out about today in how successful Sam Kavaris really is. Then we'll get in some Who You Got, college football week 1, and get you caught up on all things local. Me and Caveman, before I get into our first planned piece of information for the day, did I say old school?
Almost.
Almost did. The first time you said Caveman.
Me and Caveman were outside talking about, and the reason why old school came to my mind is because we were talking about the Montreal Expos. Who is a player on the Montreal Expos that stands out to you more than others? For me, the obvious one's Randy Johnson before he got traded, Vladimir Guerrero. But for me, I think the one that stands out more than others is Moises Alou.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, for me, in my generation, I look at Larry Walker before he went to Colorado.
Wow, that's a good one. Pedro
I was trying
a
to
short
remember
stint
all
there.
the people because they always had a lot of good draft picks.
Wasn't Galarraga there too, Andres?
Oh, was the big cat there,
I think
man?
Andres Galarraga was there as well.
Andre Dawson.
Andre Dawson's another one.
I was trying to think of. That's one guy has card.
Tim Raines.
Tim Raines is a good one, no doubt. Yeah. Gary Carter. Do you got another one, or Andre Dawson was the guy you were thinking of?
I was trying to think of who it was, and Andre Dawson was definitely the guy I was trying to think of. We were outside, actually.
And really, the reason why I even brought that up is because I saw a picture. It was about Randy Johnson. It's like, we're gonna trade you for whoever they traded
Matt
him for.
Hunley or something.
Matt
Langston,
I think.
Bag of balls, probably, and like a couple batting tees or something. Probably what they got in return.
And then it said, we're gonna trade you, and then you're gonna go on to win 5 Cy Youngs, and also you're going to throw a ball through a bird. You know what I mean? So I was like, I see the Expos jerseys. I'm like, I got to get me one of those, bro.
Oh, they were nice.
I got to get me that, and I got to get a hat.
Back when I was a kid, they were like the Oakland Athletics are now. The team that would get all these young prospects, hold on to them for a short while, and then move them, but still not really do nothing and not go anywhere, not get anything in return. And then the other teams that would benefit from these teams, they would go on to have great careers. Expos would end up looking like clowns, but the teams that they dealt with, man, I can't think of who the general manager was back then, but man, he must have been pretty sorry, or the lineage ones that they had for quite a number of years.
Well, yesterday we were talking about Kyler Murray. He just signed that big 5 years, $230.5 million deal. Is he worth that to you guys? What's your opinion on this? And obviously, there's not another quarterback that they could go out and get that is better than what Kyler Murray is. He's getting a lot of money right now, but second in the league right now in AAV, which is annual average value or average annual value. $46.1 million a year is basically what it boils down to. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
I think they overpaid. I mean, frankly, I don't think he's quite worth that. He's probably somewhere around, I don't know, the 13th best quarterback in the league, someplace around there. So if you're looking at how much that guy, would be making, that's a far cry probably from, what he's getting right now, being the second paid guy right behind Aaron Rodgers right now, I believe, is the highest guy. So, yeah, I think they overpaid. They could have, maybe waited. Next year's draft, we know we should have a wealth of quarterbacks inside of that draft as compared to this, last year that we just had. So maybe roll the dice then. But I don't think I'd pay for a guy that's undersized and has the attitude issues, if you will.
What you got, AG?
For me, I mean, we texted about this, I think, a couple days ago, and when after it happened. And for me, I don't think he's in the league by the time that contract is out.
It's possible.
And do you mean
just because? Not even just because of his performance, but I mean, if you watch that kid on the field, he is a kid. He acts like a child.
Mm-hmm.
He's
and a magician at the same time.
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's great when he's on, but if something doesn't go his way, he throws a tantrum. He's always looking at the other guy or his receiver or lineman, and he's looking to place blame on them for his mistake. If something does go bad in a play, then you can see it. He wears it on his face. Mm-hmm. I hope that's something that he grows out of and he matures, but I've not seen it from him. So I don't think he's out of league from a performance standpoint, but from a maturity standpoint, who wants that on your sideline and in your locker room?
That's
he reminds me of like a Jay Cutler with his body language, like you were saying.
But Jay Cutler, I mean, granted, I don't know what his teammates say with Murray, but Jay Cutler was always there with his teammates and always slapping his lineman on the butt, saying, come on, let's go, let's get up.
But body language is a big deal too.
Right.
When you're sitting there
you're sulking
on the bench, sulking and feeling sorry for yourself. Exactly.
I love it, man. Great stuff there. A couple of quick points here. Noah Lyles, American sprinter, clocked a 19.31 in the men's 200-meter final.
Did you see that kick? That's what they call it when they get going. Did you see that kick?
What? The football's not even on yet.
No, when he took off. Did you see the video?
Haven't seen it.
It was Boltish.
Wow. Usain Boltish.
Yeah.
Michael Johnson-ish.
Flying.
I love it, man. So not only did he win the race, but breaking Michael Johnson's 19.32 time in the 1996 Olympics, third fastest time in history behind Usain Bolt's 19.19. Like, how
is it now?
How amazing is that, though? Like, how fast is Usain Bolt that he's got 0.2 of a second essentially over those guys? More than 0.2 of a second. But wow, and then Johan Blake comes in second at 19.26. Also, the Cleveland Browns signing Josh Rosen. We'll see how that works out. I was a little disappointed in that. I would have rather seen the Browns, and this is not for anything other than selfish reasons. I think that maybe A.J. McCarron's got more in the tank, not as a starter. Never expected him to be a starter. We were talking about this earlier. I think he did great in the times that he was able to fill in for Cincinnati back in the days when he was backing up Andy Dalton. Last year had the injury that took him out for the rest of the year. And so the Browns were looking at A.J. McCarron, ended up going with Josh Rosen, who I'm assuming is going to be the backup to Jacoby Brissett in the event, in the very likelihood of Deshaun Watson and the looming suspension right now.
I would agree. I think that's the plan.
It's disappointing to not see McCarron out there because, granted, as a Bengals fan, I remember it vividly. The playoff game against the Steelers where Burfict got the interception and then ran away and then ended up decapitating Antonio Brown and then the Jeremy Hill fumble. But what gets lost in that game is how well A.J. McCarron played. And, and the Bengals weren't supposed to win that playoff game because Dalton was out. So, it was the Bengals going to be the Bengals' first playoff win in 20 some odd years at that point, and they got taken away.
And wasn't that same hit on AB that people try to claim that that's where he maybe got his bell rung, and maybe that's where all the weirdness and all the shenanigans started, which I think is kind of like off
possibly.
The rocker. But I don't believe that. But that was the hit, though, right?
Yeah.
I think
it definitely was the hit, and there's no scientific fact that's ever going to connect those dots.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you just said off the rocker, right?
Yeah.
Since that hit, and it wasn't just soon after, really. It was after his tenure with the Pittsburgh Steelers, which kind of, at the tail end there, you started to see kind of signs of maybe not everything is all right there. Then he goes to Oakland and just it's like, wow, you know what I mean? And then he goes to Tampa Bay with Tom Brady, and it's like, oh man, this guy's changed and it's good to go. You know what I mean? And then maybe the most egregious thing that anyone has ever done on a football field. When I mean that, like, not just there's a difference in like walking out on your team and walking out on your team and the spotlight's all on you.
The only way he could have been worse is if he was naked.
Well, essentially, for a football player,
right? But I'm just saying, like, if he had just dropped trowel and just said, "Screw it, I'm out." Chris actually brought up a good point on Facebook. He said, going back to that Bengals Steelers game, he said, "Why was Joey Porter allowed on the field and able to egg on Vontaze Burfict?" Which a lot of that gets lost, but at the same time, Burfict still has to hold his head.
That's
which he can't.
But
really
that's such a good point, though.
That's been known to be a hothead.
Yeah. No doubt, but I mean, there's things that happen in a violent sport, and the violent sport we're talking about is football, where you want to stand up for your guy. Now, it's never right to come off the sidelines because that's what Joey Porter was doing here in this situation. It's never right to do that. But hey, it's one of those situations, and the long-term effects. I mean, we can also talk about other guys who've been diagnosed with CTE, and there's no, noticeable hit in their career. It's the culmination, it's the combination of hits that they've taken throughout their career.
Yeah.
Let's we got a little PSA, Caveman Rick. Let's get to it, brother.
All right, right on. If you guys are looking for a career that makes an impact on your local communities, don't miss out on the Continue the Mission recruitment and hiring event in Northwest Florida Health Network. If you're a military veteran, military spouse, former law enforcement officer, spouse of any of these people as well, looking to seek employment within the human services and child welfare fields, you're welcome to attend. Continue the Mission will be held on July 26th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Northwest Florida Health Network's community room located at 910 Harrison Avenue.
Come
out and see us.
Yeah, public service announcement from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Appreciate that, Caveman Rick. We're going to take a quick time out. When we get back, RJ Yeager is going to be on the line with us.
It's the 5-year flyaway from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Now, you must love the Atlanta Braves, too.
I do. I've been glued to the radio station because they ain't playing it on TV, so.
Jessica, I hope you win it. I really do.
I'm glad y'all are doing it, giving us a chance to win. I can't believe I was caller number 5. But...
Yeah, I appreciate you listening.
Keep listening to win from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Spotty showers and thunderstorms, a blend of sun and clouds near 88 this afternoon. Southwest wind at 10, water temperature in the Gulf 87. Air temperature tonight around 78, mostly clear. Chance of showers and thunderstorms over the weekend, partly sunny. Highs near 90 degrees Saturday and Sunday. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Earthworks of Northwest Florida knows it's a perfect time for you to update your home. Whether it's routine touch-ups or a new look, Earthworks has just what you need. Sand, stone, mulch, and gravel, pickup or delivery. Visit earthworks.com and request a quote. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Love the land you live on. Earthworks of Northwest Florida, 2005 Industrial Drive.
Mid-South Lumber has new owners. Stop in and visit Ann and Dave. They're on site every day to make you a priority. They're not the typical big box store, and customer service is their #1 priority. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years. Transform your home with James Hardy Siding. Durability, fire resistant, sustainability. James Hardy Color Plus is virtually maintenance free and comes with a 30-year warranty. Mid-South Lumber, the biggest little lumber yard in Panama City.
Guthrie's Golden Fried Chicken Fingers on Panama City Beach. Fresh, never frozen chicken tenders fried to perfection and served with their famous signature Guthrie sauce. Guthrie's box, snack, and chicken sandwich are sure to please. And for larger gatherings, try the family meal or Guthrie's Chicken Finger Bucket. Let Guthrie's cater your next event. Find their daily specials on Facebook on Front Beach Road across from the Beach Shopping Center. Since 1965, fresh, hot, and fast. Now available on DoorDash and Uber Eats.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. Listen weekday mornings to Coach Hale at 8:15 and the Afternoon Underdogs at 4:45 to win a prize pack and get qualified for the 5-year flyaway.
Straightaway center field. What a missile.
From 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
All right, you're riding back with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm Caveman Rick, along with Adam Goff and our captain, David Hayes. On the line right now, we're going to be joined by R.J. Yeager, former Mosley alum, typically a second baseman, and a young guy that just got drafted by the Cardinals. How you doing, R.J.?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are y'all?
We're doing excellent, man. Awesome. Glad to hear it. Glad to have you on. So what's it like being drafted by the Cardinals? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was actually signed a free agent deal right after the draft, so it was kind of like a roller coaster of emotions, you know. I had a lot of hype over it, and, you know, for whatever reason, I actually didn't hear my name called, but, you know, shortly thereafter, the Cardinals called me, and I was fortunate enough to make a deal. So I'm very happy and pulling up to Jupiter here soon.
Well, that's awesome, and in the end, it looks like you get to go someplace that you had some choice in instead of just being drafted to a team that you might not necessarily want to go to, so that's great. So how does, though, a .317 average with 18 homers and 56 RBI not get drafted?
Yeah, man, that's $1 million question, I guess. But, you know, it's a lot of people have told me it might be an age thing, you know. I didn't have any years left to go back and play college ball like some of the other guys did, so they have a little bit more leverage over me. But, you know, I feel like I've been in this position my whole life, and I'm no stranger to it. So it'll just fuel me a little bit, and I'm excited to have a little bit more motivation going into this. It'll help me out in the long run.
RJ, my man, what's up, bro? It's David. Glad to, you know, just glad to see that you're getting signed here. I know, you know, the emotions there with going undrafted, but at the end of the day, we all know everything happens for a reason. The chip on the shoulder, though, do you find that to be a motivating factor here for the longevity of your career?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I was saying earlier, I feel like I've always been in a position like this here lately, no matter what. But yeah, man, I had a good year last year, and you know, I thought at the end of the day, it all worked out perfect, and I couldn't ask for a better organization than the Cardinals. So I'm really pumped up about it.
Hey, RJ, it's AG here. So just walk us through your emotions while the draft was going on. So, like, what were you and I'm assuming your family doing?
Yeah, so we were actually watching by the TV, and I knew it wasn't happening the first day. That was the first and second rounds. I knew it wasn't happening the first day. But the second day came, and me and my dad were actually about to go hit, and I got a call from the Mariners. They said, you know, just checking in, man, you good to go today? I was like, yeah, I'm good to go whenever. Y'all just pull the trigger. I'm ready to roll. And there was a couple of different phone calls like that, but we went to go hit. I got a call when I was hitting, and I was like, man, it might, like, a lot of things, like, it might happen later this afternoon. And for whatever reason, it didn't work out. And, you know, I had a couple phone calls after day 2, which was rounds 3 through 10. And they were like, man, sorry we couldn't pull the trigger today. Tomorrow's the day. Like, get ready to roll. Tomorrow's the day. Looking forward to it. I'm like, sounds good to me. Yeah. I'm ready to roll. So day 3 comes, and same thing, man. A couple calls, but nothing for sure. And about the 18th round comes along, and I'm like, well, dang, this ain't like. You get this feeling, you're like, man, it ain't happening, right? Like, crap. Like, do I need to do this? Am I supposed to keep playing? But it ended up working out because the Cardinals called me in the 20th round, or right after the 20th round. Literally, I didn't even have time to be bummed out about it. And they called me and, made me a good deal. And I straight up told them, I was like, man, you're going to have to give me a second because I'm still kind of down, disappointed. Let me get the thinking straight, and I'll give you a call back. And I talked it over, called a bunch of my coaches, my old coaches, my college coaches helped me out a lot in this process. And they were like, man, it would just hurt me in my bones if you didn't even give it a shot. So it ended up working out great, and I called the Cardinals back soon after and told them I'm in.
Man, that's some interesting stuff right there. What a wild ride.
It really is. Like, how many players are like, yeah, MLB team, or yeah, Cardinals.
Hold, please.
I'll give you a call back. I'll put you in touch with my secretary. That is really cool stuff, RJ. And now, have you already taken the physical and figured out what's the next step?
I take it tomorrow morning.
Okay, it's tomorrow morning. All right, that is, man, I'm so excited for you, bro. It's awesome to be able to watch guys live out their dreams, and you're doing it right now. I think AG's got another question for you.
No, I wasn't trying to cut you off. I was just waiting.
Yeah, you're good.
So what have the Cardinals discussed with you where you're going to end up landing after you sign your deal?
Not yet. So we're going down to Jupiter for a couple of days, and I think they slowly working into some workouts and different stuff like that, a couple of different meetings, and then after around a week, they said I should be assigned to a team. So I don't know where yet. So that's still to be determined, but I'm excited to see where I'll land.
Well, that'd be awesome, man. As soon as you know, let us know. Give us a call. We'd love to pick your brain about where it is you're going to be.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's it's got to be just an incredible experience to just go through, what you've been through. And then the fact that, you did tell the Cardinals to hold on and think about it, that might have actually helped you. They might have actually took that as like, hey, man, this guy's pretty confident about himself, or, what I'm saying, he's actually doing the right thing instead of just jumping at the first thing because he's just that thirsty wanting, to get out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it worked out good because I had a bunch of good conversations with, my old coaches and my family members, and it worked out good. It made me much more confident that I was making the right decision.
I love it. I love that because also, I mean, how easy is it to have those thoughts creep in? A lot of people don't understand the time and effort and dedication and work ethic that it takes to become you were not just D1, you're playing SEC level ball. You played at Mosley, on to Mercer, then over to Mississippi State, and just that dedication that it takes to play at that high of a level. Now, it would seem easy to, I didn't get drafted. Is this the right choice? And then to continue on with it just shows the dedication and the work that you put into this craft.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. It's a lot, man. It's a lot of years put into a sport. It's like, man, it's kind of crazy, but we all love it. So I've known nothing else.
So,
we're rooting for you.
Oh, absolutely, definitely rooting for you. Has there been? Well, I guess that do they talk? What is the phone call like when they call you? Is there any talks of position? Like, would you change positions? Is there any talks like that, or is it just, hey, we want you?
Before the draft, there was a couple conversations I had about that, and I would always say I'm down for wherever. Throw me in the outfield, throw me shortstop, second base. I don't care. As long as I'm playing, I'm good. But the conversations around the draft when it was actually happening was just like, it was a couple different scenarios. Like, hey, if we got to spend a lot more money on this high school guy. Like, we might take you a little bit earlier since you're a fifth year, and all this kind of stuff. Like, would you take this? Would you take this in this position? And I said yes to everything. But sometimes it just doesn't make sense. And but that was pretty much how the conversations went.
Is there a team out there that passed on you that you're like, you know, the way that you handle things, and you don't got to name them, you could just say yes or no. Is there a team out there that you're ready to make them rue the day that they passed on R.J. Yeager and not being able to have Yeager bombs for their organization?
Oh, yeah, man. There's a couple of them. Yeah, there's a couple of them. But, I mean, I feel like there's always those that kind of scenario going on. So it'll help me in the head for sure, and have that little extra fire. I think that's always good. So.
Hey, RJ, AG here. Have you been able to speak with any of your teammates that did get drafted this year?
Yes, I've talked to pretty much every single one, or at least texted with them. Yeah.
Okay, and how are they feeling, man? Because there's 6 of them I think they got drafted. So that was obviously y'all won the national title 2 years ago. So that's a pretty good roster you guys had again last year.
Yeah, we did. We had a great roster. I think we had 7 guys drafted, and I mean, they were all awesome players and awesome guys. So it was great. I was really, really happy for them, and they've all worked hard, and they're great players. So I was just pumped to see their dream come into life, man. It was awesome.
I love it, man. Any plans for the what was the first thing that you bought with your signing bonus?
No, I haven't bought anything yet.
There we go, my man. Hey,
be like Gronk and keep your paychecks and just try to spend endorsement money.
Yeah, man. I bought some gas. That's about it.
hey, so you spent about $49,000 home.
You were impressing some folks doing that.
Hey, RJ, man, we're running out of time for this segment. Thanks so much for giving us some of your time. We're definitely rooting for you, as Caveman put it earlier, and can't wait to just watch your journey and how it all unfolds.
Absolutely, y'all. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir,
Stay
man.
safe out there, man.
Yeah.
We'll be looking to pick up your baseball card soon.
Absolutely. Sounds good to me.
All right, later, RJ. Be safe out there, buddy.
All right. Thank y'all.
R.J. Yeager, man. Gosh, I remember the first time that we ever got to have him on the show, or at least when I was involved, and I was like, man, this dude, not only is he seems very humble. You know what I mean? He seems very humble, but still has that competitive edge, but also has that humor about him. You know what I mean? And he just seems like a guy that it would be fun to go hang out at a bar and kick it with for 1, 2, 3, or 4 of them.
Well, it's kind of like a movie situation where he tells him, like, you know what, let me call you back, right? Like, I feel like 20 years from now, like if hopefully RJ makes it big, and we're talking about his Hall of Fame career, and then they make a movie about him, and he tells the St. Louis Cardinals organization, hold please.
It's like an Office Space kind of line,
Right,
right. I got a meeting with the Bobs later.
I love it, man. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to be talking some Arkansas football with Sidney Fields.
It's the 5-year flyaway from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You are caller number 5.
Coming here from Panama City, talking to I love D. Jackson State Jeff.
Jackson State Jeff, my main man. What's going on, buddy?
If I win, I might be able to even twist my wife's arm and actually go to a baseball game.
There you go.
Keep listening to Win from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Barbaritos has been committed to serving farm fresh food since February 20th, 2000. For starters, Barbaritos food is made with love, straight from the heart. Every morning we begin preparing our food from scratch, from chopping fresh tomatoes for sauces to mashing fresh avocados for guacamole. Barbaritos cares about food, from serving char-grilled grass-fed beef as well as hormone-free chicken breasts to the amazing tofu for our vegan friends. Farm fresh is more than just a motto, it's Barbaritos' mission.
Barbaritos, we make it fresh, you make it yours.
Start your summer adventure in a new Kia from Bill Berg Kia. Stop by today and discover why everyone is talking about the award-winning Kia. Now offering 1.9% APR APR for up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2022 Kia Soul. Cruise in confidence in the outgoing and adventurous 2022 Kia Soul that has the perfect balance of comfort, style, and technology. Billboard Kia is the home of that 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by today and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillboardKia.com. We make buying a car easy and give you peace of mind that you can trust. Offer from KMF for the purchase of a new 2022 Soul with $21.65 per month per 1,000 financed in 48 months. Quantities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with any finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Billboard Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers must take delivery from dealer stock through 8/1/22.
Reliable Copy Products is proud to be the exclusive dealer in Northwest Florida for Kyocera office equipment. Reliable Copy Products has been committed to providing professional, personalized service for the last 35 years. They understand that the right equipment does not always fall within today's budget requirements, so they offer several options for the equipment you need today for the growth you expect tomorrow. Call James Smothers at 784-6601, 784-6601. Reliable Copy Products on Harrison Avenue, just north of Bay High School.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. Listen weekday mornings to Coach Hale at 8:15 and the Afternoon Underdogs at 4:45 to win a prize pack and get qualified for the 5-year flyaway.
Straightaway center field. What a missile.
From 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we're back on the Afternoon Underdogs here on ESPN 104.3, ESPN Northwest Florida. Be sure to check us out on 102.1 if you're in the Mariana area as well. On the line right now, we have Miss Sydney Fields. Had her in studio, last week it was?
Yeah, it was last week.
Yeah, welcome on back, Miss Sydney. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Great. How was the rest of the weekend last weekend?
Oh, it was pretty good. Just had a rough trip home, but it was all good. We made it.
Fantastic. So, Miss Sydney, now that you're back in your old stomping grounds, what did you take away from Arkansas's SEC Media Days?
Well, Coach Pittman came out and said that, they're not looking for just 9 wins. They're looking for more. And he mentioned that every sport at Arkansas has been winning and having success in the postseason, and they're behind on that, and it's time to catch up and be one of those teams. Everyone in Arkansas already loves Coach Pittman, but he wants to be up there with the best of the best, like all the other coaches. And one of my favorite quotes from him was somebody told him that they were 16-6 against the spread, and they said, "Thank you for that," and all he had to say back was, Go
Hogs. Oh, I love it, man. I mean, does Sam Pittman not embody what it is to be an Arkansas Razorback?
Oh, yeah, he does. And he said, the state of Arkansas, the university represents the whole state. That's really one of the only teams we have. We don't have a professional team in any of the cities. So everybody looks to the University of Arkansas, and he said that, they represent the entire state, and that's what he has a sign in his office saying that. And so he tries to get those recruits in saying that they're representing the entire state of Arkansas, and they're going to be just like everybody here, tough, hardworking, loyal, and all of that.
Right on. That sounds awesome. That's just a great way for people to look at it. But moving on to the beginning of the college football season, what are you expecting out of the first game against Cincinnati this year?
It'll be a tough game for sure. Cincinnati did lose a lot of good players from last season, including their quarterback and a handful of receivers. They actually had a receiver that played at Arkansas, but now he's at Missouri State with Bobby Petrino. But Cincinnati is going to be a really tough game. Sam Pittman mentioned that, whenever they scheduled so far in advance, and whenever they scheduled Cincinnati, they sure didn't expect them to be a college football playoff team. And they came out and did really well last year and the year before. So I'm excited to see how they do in Fayetteville. It's going to be a very hot game. We've had a really crazy hot summer here. So it'll be interesting to see how they also adjust to the weather.
It does seem like the home schedule this year for the Arkansas Razorbacks it's got a lot of firepower behind it, and that just has to add to the hype surrounding the Razorbacks heading into this season.
Oh, yeah, everybody's really excited to get football season started. We just had so many down years the last, 8 or so years. And now that we're kind of back, winning records and winning seasons and playing bowl games, it's really exciting, and everyone's just ready. It's going to be really exciting having Bobby Petrino returning to Fayetteville. Everybody loves Bobby, but also everybody has their own dislikes against him, but it'll be exciting for sure.
Yeah, that's why I was literally pulling up the schedule. And I was like, wait, you just mentioned Bobby Petrino, Missouri State, wide receiver transferring over that way. That game, maybe not talent on the field, a lot of great storylines as far as the difference from, the talent level from Missouri State to Arkansas, but that storyline right there, Bobby Petrino making his way back to Fayetteville. What is one of the things that stands out for you as Sidney Fields of something that you just maybe don't like about Bobby Petrino?
I don't like that he left the way he did. Well, he didn't leave. He was
Welcome to the club as a Louisville fan.
But, yeah, I mean, we were right there. We were on top. I think we were number 3 that year after that season, and we were like, oh, yeah, we're going to have a great year coming up. We're going to be back, blah, blah, blah. And then motorcycle accident.
Well, and everything that came with that, too, the funny memes with the neck brace. But
yeah,
trust me, Sydney, I get it. I get it.
The assistant, all of it.
Yeah, we were Louisville when Petrino was there the first time. We're a field goal away against Rutgers from possibly playing for the national championship that year, and then now we've moved on. How about that?
You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're on the line right now with Sidney Fields. She's a contributor for Fifth Quarter Arkansas. Make sure that you guys go check them out on Twitter. They do a great job covering the Arkansas Razorbacks. I got another question pertaining to you personally, but let's stick with the Hogs here. Y'all lost a lot on the defensive side of the ball. Who are some guys to keep our eyes on for the upcoming season?
Well, Bumper Poole's coming back for his last year of eligibility, which he didn't have to do. He was expected to do well in the draft, but he decided to come back at the linebacker position. And next to him will be Drew Sanders, who is a transfer from Alabama. He is incredibly fast and very physical. Watching some of his highlights, he's just an animal in the linebacker position. And he played really well during the spring, and they're going to be a really good duo. And then you have Dorian Gerald. He's in his COVID senior year, so he's been there for a while, and he's going to be leading that squad along with Isaiah Nichols, and he's a senior with 11 starts. And we just also got a transfer from LSU. Landon Jackson, and he's been dealing with some injury, but he's supposed to be healthy during fall camp, so we'll see how that goes. He's very fast. And we also have Dwight McLaughlin. He's from LSU. He's a corner, I believe, and he has really good man-to-man coverage and very fast, can keep up with all these fast receivers in the SEC. And then at D-back, we have Latavius Brinney from Georgia. He's a transfer, and he's really good too. And then, obviously, we have the superstar, Jalen Catalon, who could have gone drafted last year. He had an injury and only had played in 6 games, I think. But he's the leader of that defense. He's fast. He can stay on these guys and tackle them really well. And he's definitely the leader on that side.
So talking about replacing players, who do you think will be the guy that becomes like the Treylon Burks for KJ Jefferson this coming year?
I don't think there will be one. I don't think there will be one guy. Everyone's going to have to step up, and everyone's going to have to play their part. And Coach Pittman really emphasized on that at the media days. We have Jaden Hazelwood. I talked about him last week to you guys, but he's a transfer from OU, and he's really fast and runs his routes really well. And then there's Warren Thompson, Ketron Jackson, and a couple other guys. But I think it'll be kind of an experiment through fall camp to see who exactly will be in those spots. And Coach Pittman mentioned that KJ has to learn how these guys work. He has to learn how these guys run their routes and catch the ball, and he's got to get used to that because during the spring game it was just messy looking.
All right, good stuff there. So outside of week 1, which game are you most looking forward to? I think we delved into this a little bit last week, but I want to get a refresher.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to that game with Bobby Petrino. I hope to be able to make that one just because I want to see the environment in Fayetteville. during that. And then I'm excited for the A&M game in Dallas. We have the win on them right now, and I think it'll be a really tough and close game.
And you already said you think they're going to win that game, correct? Last week.
Uh-huh.
All right. And then where do you think the Hogs will finish then at the end of this season in the West?
10-2.
10-2. So over under 7.5 wins. Where does that put them at in the West, though? Is that 1, 2, 3, 4? What do you got them finishing in the SEC West?
I got them 2 in the West. I think Alabama, remains on top there. But
I knew you were smart for some reason.
Uh-huh. The SEC Media Day preseason poll just came out, and it has Alabama, A&M, and Arkansas in the top 3. So got some respect there, but I think if you're a betting person, you got to smash the over.
Yeah. What did you think of Kentucky coming in at number 2 in the East?
I don't know. I just didn't watch them a lot, last season, but I know that they were really, really good. Their quarterback, they have a really good quarterback, but I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. And Tennessee is also supposed to be really good, but they just got smacked with some with recruiting violations today. So we'll see what happens with them with that.
Yeah, I mean, how do you feel about that though? Something that happened, and we're talking about 18 violations for what, $60,000, and totaling up to $60,000 and stuff that he gave to players' moms and players and his wife even. But now we're talking about singular players getting that kind of money. How do you feel about that, Sydney?
Well, I think, stuff like that's been happening forever and ever, but they got caught with it, and I just think it'll be really interesting because they're so, they're expected to do very well this season. I've seen a lot of people have them 9-3 and 10-2 and stuff like that. But I don't know. I'm excited to see what happens out of that and what all they dig up and stuff like that. But now with NIL and everything, all that stuff just seems so small.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, content, though. That's what we're always searching for. Real quick, though, before we get you off the line, give me your favorite Razorback of all time.
Ooh, I got to go with Matt Jones. Whenever I was a kid, he's the first Razorback that I remember now. He was playing when I was 4, 5, 3 maybe. I had 2 of his jerseys. I wore him every game, and I remember after, every game we would leave the stadium. We used to go up there all the time, but we would leave the stadium, and I'd be like, did Matt Jones win? Forget the Razorbacks. Did Matt Jones win? And so I always followed him, and now he's here in Arkansas, and he's actually going to be a part of a show next week that one of the local radio stations here are putting on. And so I kind of want to go to that just to see Matt Jones.
Yeah, I saw you post something on Twitter, and that's what kind of led me to that question. I just thought about it during the middle of this segment, but I think it was you quoted something with they were talking about Darren McFadden and Felix Jones, and I'm like, golly, man, I forgot how daggum good Darren McFadden was.
Run DMC.
Oh yeah, Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, Peyton Hillis. That backfield was so good, and that's one of those that I was old enough to remember. They were just so much fun to watch. They are 3 of my favorites as well.
I love it. Sydney, thanks so much for giving us some of your time and talking some Arkansas football with us. We'll chat with you next week, man, and then keep on rolling with it, man. It's funny letting you guys on a little on a backstory. I was asking her if she knew any writers for Arkansas football so we could get them on the show, and she's like, yeah, me. I'm like, okay, perfect. That's easy. We're just going to keep on rocking and rolling then. Hey, Sydney, have yourself a great rest of your evening.
Thank you. You guys too.
All right. That is Sydney Fields. If you're not on Twitter, you need to go make yourself a Twitter account and then go follow her. I sound like I'm in Arkansas right now. Fifth Quarter Arkansas. Y'all make sure y'all go check them out. Great stuff there as well. We're going to take a quick time out, but you know what time it is. It's time for the 5-year flyway. 2 Braves tickets in a great location. I'm talking 2 flights. I'm talking Uber, spending cash, everything that you could want and more. Let's get those phone lines blinging, y'all.
For 5 years, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida has been the undisputed
and still undefeated
leader for sports on the Panhandle, with engaging sports talk from national and local hosts, play-by-play with the Atlanta Braves, the Auburn Tigers, college football, and the NFL. Plus, we're 850 strong with feeding families for the holidays at Thanksgiving and Christmas. Thanks for 5 years of broadcasting history from ESPN Northwest Florida.
Little sweet. Did you make it out the door on time?
Yeah, but I have lipstick on my teeth.
Ooh, that color looks great on you. And you deserve a tasty treat. Did you take an alternate route and avoid 30 seconds of traffic? Or did you weather apple out? Ooh, and now you're sweating in your shacket. So sweet, unique. Baby, there's nothing better. I bet you've probably done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you nail the high note while singing along to your favorite song? Yes, I did. That deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you perfectly parallel park without bumping any bumper?
Yeah, but I locked my keys in the car.
That's okay.
I need my keys, little sweet.
That deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you get your kid in the car seat without losing your temper? Buckle in, that's a win. That deserves a Dr. Pepper. It's one of a kind that'll blow your mind. Everyone's done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper.
Hi folks, I'm Tracy at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Santa called and he asked me to help everyone get ready for Christmas and avoid the stress and rush. So we've stocked the store and slashed the prices. All diamond jewelry 30 to 50% off this month. All diamond rings, pendants, earrings, bracelets, and necklaces. And we are offering free 6 months layaway. Tracy's Fine Jewelry takes the stress out of the holidays. So shop now where Santa shops during our Christmas and July sale at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs, with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5, and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food, on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. Listen weekday mornings to Coach Hale at 8:15 and the Afternoon Underdogs at 4:45 to win a prize pack and get qualified for the 5-year flyaway.
Straightaway center field. What a missile.
From 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back inside of the Rib Crib Radio Room, and you know what we do every day at 4:45? It's time for the winner of the 5-year flyaway. We've got caller number 5 on the line with us. Who am I speaking with?
This is Fireman Harry from up here in Mariana.
Oh, tell me what station you're listening on, Harry.
Oh, I'm listening on 102.1, the repeater. I'm glad y'all have it.
I love it, man. Hey, thanks so much for the call. You are the big winner. You just won yourself $25 to Rudy's Barbecue, a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock, and you've entered your name into the 5-year flyaway giveaway for a great chance at 2 Braves tickets, 2 tickets for a flight, Uber, spending cash, and your hotel's paid for as well. Tell me what you think is going to happen with the second half here in the Atlanta Braves.
Well, I think the Braves are going to win. I talked to a solid Braves fan that used to be an SID at a college, and he, I think that I told it to him that if they win 60% of their games against the Mets, they're going to win the Mets. I liked Kyle's take yesterday. He had the confidence of a losing horse player that the Braves are absolutely going to beat the Mets, and I feel the same way. I don't want to jinx things, though, but I believe if the Braves keep playing the way they are, they're going to do it. Now, that's a big if. So I'll tell you what, old Riley looked a little shaky for going to the All-Star break. Maybe he's nervous, and Acuna, I think he just needs some rest. I'd like for Acuna taking it easy, but, I can't tell him to do that. I ain't his coach, and I'm not him. But I'm looking forward to tonight. Shohei Ohtani. This will be a good one.
Ohtani, Morton on the mound.
Back, man.
I am too, man. It was a rough week, even though we had the home run derby and all that stuff. But I love getting home and being able to listen to the broadcast.
Y'all did a great job filling in. it seems like all the talk shows raised their game this week because they knew there wasn't that much going on. It's kind of a dead week in sports, you know. Even world, I don't know. I didn't check on any cricket or soccer or whatever overseas, whatever. Maybe some Australian rules football, but I don't have cable. Y'all are my outlet to the world.
I
And
love
thank you for being there.
Yes, sir.
That's a great prize. I first saw a Braves game, Jarvis versus Osteen, Atlanta versus the Dodgers, the first year division. No, it was before divisional play, 68. Anyway, saw Aaron hit 2 out. I'm an old timer, and my granddaughter, my only grandchild, lives up there. So I'm going to be listening on July 29th when you have to call in within 5 minutes.
Yeah, we're going to pick the winner, and then if you either answer the phone when we call you, or we'll give you.
Call us.
Yeah, we're going to call you
Okay.
guys, and then we're going to give you a few minutes, of course, to if you miss, maybe you're at work or something like that. That's why I'm encouraging everyone to get the ESPN Northwest Florida app, just in case you happen to run into the grocery store or gas station or something like that, and you miss it. We don't want you guys to miss out on this.
Well, I'll keep my phone with me. It is July 29th now. Is it during your show or Coach Hale's?
It is right here, 4:45 on the Afternoon Underdog Show.
That's the way to play it, man. I'm looking forward to y'all doing this. Mosley this year is going to be on this network.
Yes, sir. It's going to be right.
This
Yes,
radio
sir.
station.
Yes,
looking
sir.
forward to that too. But go Braves.
Hey, go Braves. Hey, Harry.
I'll hang on and give you my information.
All right. That's actually, Harry. Do you text at all?
I used to text a lot, but I've lost some of my eyesight.
Okay.
And I can't do it. Do you want me to call you back at a more convenient time?
No, just do me a favor, hang on the line, and then right here in the break of this segment, all we really need from you is your phone number. I know a lot of people don't feel comfortable giving that over the air, and I don't blame them at
I don't
all.
want to give it out over the air, but I'll give it out to you when you're on commercial break.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
hold if you want to. That way it'll keep somebody from bothering you and you can do your spot.
Yeah, yes, sir. We got about 4 minutes, so just hang on the line. Thanks so much.
I'll do it. I'll turn the radio up while I'm listening.
All right, good stuff, man. Harry called in the other day and just blew my mind, covered the full spectrum of sports in not a lot of time, in about 10 minutes.
Did he say he was a firefighter the other day? 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't remember. I called.
I don't remember him saying that, but
He said
now
Fireman
we know.
Larry, yeah.
Yeah, now we
All
know
right.
Fireman Harry.
Harry, sorry. Well, if you are or you know a veteran in need, please listen closely. The 15th Annual Homeless Veterans Stand Down, hosted by Career Source Gulf Coast, is here to help. Free services include employment services, medical and dental assistance, housing referrals, social services, and VA benefits. Plus, free toiletries, non-perishable food items, and box lunches are available. Free bus transportation to and from the event will be provided by Baytown Trolley. The 15th Annual Homeless Veterans Stand Down will be held on August 26th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Gulf Coast State College Student Union East Building. This public service announcement from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Thank you for that, Adam. This is Defend Your Stance. We've got about 2 minutes to defend our stances. This is brought to you by Emerald Coast Damsel, Independent Damsel Pro for Damsel in Defense. July 23rd and the 24th, which just so happens to be tomorrow and Sunday afternoon. Michelle is going to be down in Jacksonville.
At the fairgrounds.
At the fairgrounds. And y'all make sure if you're in that area, or if you have a trip planned down to Jacksonville, if you got family or friends down in Jacksonville, make sure you tell them about it. They'll go see Michelle, and Michelle will absolutely take care of them.
We pity the fool.
We do pity the fool who doesn't use our tool. We're going to get into this next question that I have, but I'm not going to do it now since we only have 2 minutes, and I'll let the listeners go ahead and get a sneak peek on it. Besides Dalvin Cook and Jimmy Butler, who is another athlete whose last name is an occupation. But we're going to start with this one, and we only have, like I said, about a minute left here. You can only have one, and Harry would have been great to have on for this segment. You can only have one. You either ban the shift or you get the robo-ump. If you can only get one of those, what do you want? We'll start with AG.
Ban the shift.
Ban the shift. You'd rather have the shift.
I can live
or
with,
rather not have the shift.
I can live with umpires making mistakes as long as the shift is gone.
Caveman?
I'm fine with the shift being around. I think people just need to learn to work around it, learn how to hit better. So I'm fine with, leaving the shift there. So, I don't want to see the robo-ump.
So you're in the same boat as me, like neither one of these. Now, they have started this in the, I believe it's called the FSL, the Florida Southern League. They've got 2 chalk lines. They start at about
like a cone, right?
Yeah, it's more like a triangle type deal where, if you're shortstop, third base, you can't be in that area. You got to have 2 feet in the dirt. If you're second base, first base, you got to be on the right side of that. So very interesting to see how to play out. Myself, the way I think about it, and I respect everyone's opinion on this, at the end of the day, dude, we're playing analytics. Like, you know what I mean? That's like telling a defensive back he can't blitz. That's my opinion on it.
Right.
We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll be right back in just a few short moments. We got Sam Kovaris, who covered the Jaguars down in Jacksonville. He's also got an amazing accomplishment we're going to talk about here in the next segment.
.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. This is Braves country.
This is unbelievable. The All-Star break is over. Tonight, Charlie Morton, Austin Riley, and the Atlanta Braves take on the Los Angeles Angels. First pitch, 6:20. Coverage starts at 6 right after the Afternoon Underdogs. On your home for the 5-year flyaway to see the Atlanta Braves. It's ESPN Northwest Florida.
Spotty showers and thunderstorms, a blend of sun and clouds near 88 this afternoon. Southwest wind at 10, water temperature in the Gulf 87. Air temperature tonight around 78, mostly clear. Chance of showers and thunderstorms over the weekend, partly sunny. Highs near 90 degrees Saturday and Sunday. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Is your mouth watering yet? We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby. The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Hit me with the sound effects again. Ladies, gentlemen, if you're feeling the way I'm feeling, we should both go get us a piece of that cheesy, beefy perfection with a delicious, refreshing Pepsi. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Start a career that rocks. Buffalo Rock Company will be hosting a job fair Friday, July 29th from 1 to 5, 2377 Sherman Avenue, Panama City. Available positions include account merchandisers and delivery merchandisers with CDL. Benefits include hiring incentive, paid vacation and PTO, health, dental, and vision. Detailed info about job availability and benefits can be found at buffalorock.com/careers.
Did you know that fees associated with real estate closings are virtually the same from one title company to the next? So what sets South Oak Title apart? Effective communication, customer service, expertise, and technology. If you're buying or selling real estate, refinancing a residential or commercial property, tell your realtor you want to close with South Oak Title. South Oak Title, with locations across the Southeast, including Panama City Beach, Inlet Beach, Destin, and Fort Walton Beach. Visit them online at southoaktitle.com.
The SEC lives here. WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Transmission starts in 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. The Afternoon Underdogs are taking your calls live. 850-215-6290. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hour number 2 of the Afternoon Underdogs. Thank you guys for riding with us on your ride home, or maybe you're headed to work, whichever way that it goes. We've got Sam Kovaris on the line with us. He's a columnist, reporter, anchor, and journalist. You can check out his website. I definitely implore you to do so. samsportsline.com. Sam, welcome into the Rib Crib Radio Room. How's everything going, buddy?
Doing good. You guys are going to have to change the name. The way you dominate, you can't call yourself the underdog. You know, come on. You guys are dominant these days.
I love it, man. That means a whole lot. And also, I wanted to get into, I checked out samsportsline.com today, and I was wowed. The first thing that pops up, you received the Masters Major Achievement Award, and a lot of things go into that. I mean, you've been covering them for 40 years now, and that was in 2020, so if you made the last 2 trips, that's 42 years. You've only missed 1 year, and you had a very important life circumstance going on there with a birth in the family, but also you got a parking spot there at Augusta. What's going on, man? How awesome is that?
Yeah, it's pretty wild when you pull up and there's a parking space with your name on it at Augusta National. I mean, that's pretty special. They that was a lot bigger deal than I anticipated. I thought they'd, hand me a plaque and say, hey, nice job. But I started covering the Masters in 1979, and so this was the 43rd year. But as you mentioned, the 42nd one, my oldest daughter was born April 10th, 1982. So that was actually Masters Saturday of that year.
I think I would have that picture of that sign on my Facebook page or something.
What I was going to ask is are you going to go there next year and then just take it with you and then come back the following year and be like, something happened to my sign. Can I got another one? And then just have that one in your living room or something.
That'd be pretty sweet.
I give you a little pro tip. That's not how things work at Augusta.
Yeah, I figured not as much. I was,
Hey, so before.
But yeah, that was nice. They had a nice banquet in there. It was very nice.
Did you get to pick the food like the Masters champion?
I'll leave you with this about that. When the guy who was a member at Augusta, who heads up the media committee, handed me the plaque, I looked at him and I said, because I was the 25th person to receive this award in the history of the tournament.
Wow.
And I said to him, any list I can be on that includes Dan Jenkins is a pretty darn good list.
There you go.
And Dan, Dan lived here in Ponte Vedra for about 40 years, so I got to be pretty good friends with him before he moved back to Fort Worth. But
man, that's so cool.
But yeah, that's really neat to see your name on a list with a lot of guys that I really respected the job that they had done. Really legacy guys in the business. So.
Before we dive a little bit deeper into the Jaguars and what's ahead for them in 2022, what are your thoughts and your perspective on what's going on with Live Golf and PGA Tour and how all of this is playing out at the moment?
I had dinner with a senior VP of the tour on Wednesday night, and they're in a quandary and they know it. And to coin a phrase, it's a real conundrum for them. And if your competitor comes to town and starts spewing a fire hose of $1,000 bills and tells all your clients that they're going to do everything you do for 10% of the cost, I think that you've got to alter your business plan, which is what Jay and the tour have tried to do so far, Jay Monahan being the PGA Tour commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they've tried to do very quickly. It's raised as many questions as it has answered in terms of the amount of money that the tour had, and they were going to do this. Well, it accelerated it. Well, I mean that's a nice thing to say, but there was a big pot of money there for them, and I'm sure that they were eventually going to do this, but players were already asking the questions: where is the money, and where is it coming from? So that's part of it. And when you realize then that this competitor is not worried about a business plan or a return on investment, what's the thing you do? Well, in my mind, the thing you do is call them. And I asked this senior VP whether or not there had been discussions beforehand between the tour and the Live Tour, and he said no. And I said, so you didn't take their call? And he just looked at me. So I personally think that the tour's initial parlay of creating an adversarial relationship right away was the wrong play, and that's why they've suspended these players indefinitely. So it's an ambiguous enough suspension for them to be able, if guys want to come back or whatever, they can figure out how they're going to let them back. But right now, if the Saudis are willing to fund this thing until 2030, that's when all the TV contracts end. And if they're willing to do that, then what if the Saudis say to ESPN and CBS and NBC, we'll give you $1 billion to show our tour instead of you paying $1 billion? Well, if you have any fiduciary responsibility to your stockholders and you're able to put $2 billion to your bottom line overnight, there's not a lot of ways you can say no to that. So this is going to be settled. Lawyers are going to make a lot of money, put it that way.
That thought had not crossed my mind, man, about the
That's
Saudis
some mind-blowing stuff right there.
It really is. I did not even think about it. And when you put it that way, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I mean, how can you not say no?
There certainly are guys who, I mean, I was surprised that Henrik went. I mean, being the Ryder Cup captain and the things that he gave up. Maybe, he's got a personal situation where he needs the money. And there are some guys that you're not surprised that went. But, when the U.S. amateur champion goes and when, guys who still have the potential to win like Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau and Dustin Johnson go, and then there's rumors that Adam Scott and Mark Leishman and even Cam Smith may go after the President's Cup. So, by the way, I know you guys are over there kind of on the West Coast there, so fishing's part of what you guys do. How about the Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament started today, and who's currently in third place? Cam Smith and Billy Horschel.
Have a week.
That's pretty cool, man.
Have a week.
Yeah, I didn't know they were fishermen as well. That's pretty impressive.
I
man.
said, the only thing cooler, my wife said this to me, the only thing cooler about that picture is if they had walked to the weigh-in with the fish in the claret jug.
Well, looking at some of the pictures you have up on your website, I know the claret jug is a prized possession, but I don't even think the fin is fitting in that thing.
Yeah, I think like maybe hold some caviar or something inside the claret jug from that fish.
Yeah.
But great stuff. Like I said, that stuff's mind-blowing. Moving on to football, though, Sam, I'm an old Eagles fan. I've been an Eagles fan my whole entire life. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, you guys got a new coach in Doug Peterson, obviously. So are you guys thinking making the move, obviously away from Urban Meyer and going to, Doug Peterson? Is that going to be the right thing? You think he's going to right the ship and move things in the right direction for you guys?
This was the right guy at the right time. And he was the right guy at the right time for the Jaguars last year. And when Schott called him, when they moved on from Doug Marrone, Doug told Schott, look, I can't, I need a year off. My brother's sick, and his brother subsequently died of pancreatic cancer.
Right.
My son's getting married. I need to fix my relationship with my family, which he did. And then when Schott called him this year, Doug said yes right away. He said, I appreciate it. Schott admitted both privately and somewhat publicly that the whole thing with Meyer was just an effing disaster, to quote a couple of people. but that's one of those things that give Urban Meyer credit. He might be the greatest snake oil salesman in the history of the world. He is a one-trick pony. I told you guys he was phony.
Yeah.
He's got one way of motivating, and that's intimidation. And you can't do that with professional athletes. They don't respond to that. But you can do that with guys in college. So, and by the way, he's going to turn back up on Fox. He'll get another job.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's awful because he's shown his cards.
Mm-hmm.
He's shown who he is, exactly. And maybe somebody wants to listen to him, but it's kind of like when Desmond Howard comes on now. I turn it off because here's a guy that when he played for the Jaguars, he didn't speak to the media. I was like, why the heck would I want to listen to somebody now on TV who's now in the media, who wouldn't talk to the media as a player?
Did he ever announce why he wouldn't speak to the media?
Oh, he had all these ideas about what kind of preconceived notions we had about who he was. And what he did.
I got you.
And if you don't stand in front of these guys and tell them how wonderful they are all the time, a lot of them really don't want to talk to you. The more mature guys do. But anyway, I digress. I do think that Doug. I played the stadium course, believe it or not, with Doug Peterson about 2 weeks ago, and the guy can play a little. Okay. I mean, I didn't know. He told me that at one point he led at that Tahoe tournament one year. I mean, he can play a little. There's no question. But he changed the culture of the Jaguars overnight. And to give you an example, the voluntary OTAs, the things that they want guys to come to, every single guy on the roster showed up. Okay, they didn't have one player missing. So when it came to the mandatory minicamp, he let the veterans go. He said, you guys don't have to come. You've been here plenty. We've done all we need. And because he's a new coach and because the Jaguars are playing in the Hall of Fame game, they're actually entitled to 2 extra weeks of training camp. But he told me, he said, I'm just going to add 3 days to the thing because the guys are buying in, and that's what you need in a professional situation. You need guys who are all pulling at the same time in the same direction, who don't have a common enemy in the coach, but they all have as Tom Coughlin used to like to say, a specific affection for one another and the goal that they're trying to get to. And Peterson has created that almost overnight, and that's good to see.
Well, that's fantastic to hear for all the Jags fans out there, Sam. So tell me a little bit more about Travis Etienne and what he could potentially mean for not only the Jaguars, but Trevor Lawrence.
Well, obviously they played together in college, so he doesn't need a whole lot of time figuring out how fast that guy is and where he's going to go. The Jaguars are missing that kind of breakaway guy everywhere on offense. They didn't have one at wide receiver, and they didn't have one. James Robinson's a very solid, reliable back, but they didn't have one in the backfield that, if he broke through the hole and got past the linebacker, he's liable to take it to the house. ATN is that kind of guy. And he's the kind of guy that I think every offensive coordinator is looking for, in that he creates a matchup problem. If you put him in the slot, what are you going to do? You're going to put a third, you're going to stick a third wide receiver on him. Well, then, a third cornerback or a safety on him. Well, then the tight end has an opportunity. So he creates a lot of matchup problems out there, particularly when he gets the ball in space. He's willing to run between the tackles, but they want to see this guy, have the ball in his hands and taking 2 steps before anybody's about to try to run him over.
You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're on the line with Sam Kavaris, a sports legend, man. I every time the stories just blow my mind. Like, I was just playing some golf with Coach Doug Peterson the other day. No big deal. Drink with the owner of the Jaguar, Shah Khan.
I don't like Desmond Howard, the way he handled things. Like, you should have a podcast, just Sam from the hip.
He's got a podcast.
Okay, yeah. So Sam's shooting from the hip, right? Just come right out with it. I love it.
But
we're a big little town, and I've told the Jaguars in the past that, they and if they have an issue, that is that they don't operate enough as a local entity. And when I told that to the president, he stopped speaking to me. But, that's when how beloved are the Steelers in Pittsburgh? Well,
Sure.
Part of it is because the Rooneys are part of the fabric of that city. And, the same thing with so many other places. Why do people in Washington hate the Redskins these days? Because of Daniel Snyder. So if you want to be a part of the fabric of the city that you're in, look how the Saints and Tom Benson, when he was alive, obviously we're so well connected. That's something that the Jaguars have yet to be able to create.
You have to represent your fan base as well in a proper way,
Right.
Because if you're not, then why would people want to come out and spend their hard-earned money, not only like for buying tickets and merchandise, but building new stadiums and such?
What are the Steelers built on? Toughness, right? When you think of Pittsburgh as a city,
Steel Town,
right? It's tough. Jacksonville's a working town, and that's why people love offense here. But man, when they have good defense here, people buy tickets. That's what motivates them.
Well, speaking of defense, then who's going to replace the production that Miles Jack brought to the defense?
Miles Jack was never the player that he was projected to be. Part of that, I think, was coaching issues because they tried to play him in the middle for a couple of years. He's a natural guy who could cover a tight end by himself, as the strong side linebacker. But he also didn't have the girth, the size to set the edge on himself. Miles Jack was, I don't know what he was listed at, but he might have been 6'3", 240. So the Jaguars like their linebacking core. In fact, they like the money that they've spent. And remember, they have guaranteed more money to free agents that they have signed this year than any other team in history has ever done. So Schott has been willing to write checks and guarantee the money for these guys to come here. And it's not a lot of names, It's not like they went out and signed Von Miller or or anything like that. But they feel like that they've got guys standing there who are going to be very productive when the season starts.
All right, man. Good stuff, dude. By the way, talking about the Jaguars, who do we think, or what kind of chances do we think they have at winning their division this year? We got Indianapolis getting another quarterback for the fourth year in a row. Tennessee, they got the potential of bringing in a youthful quarterback. What do you think the Jaguars do this year?
The over-under number in Las Vegas on the Jaguars win total is 6.5. I think that's a good number. I think if they win 7 games, people are going to be pretty happy that they have kind of righted the ship and look like they're on their way. They're not going to win the division this year unless they catch fire like they did in both 90s in 96. 99, they were the best team in the league, but in 96 they weren't, and they just caught fire toward the end of the year. They have the potential to do that if they stay healthy. They love their quarterback. They just think that he is just. They like everything about him, and talk about taking to the city. So a guy, I was at the beach the other day, and a guy told me the story. He said, so one day I'm standing here, and Trevor walks out, and he's a pretty recognizable guy, right? I mean, he's 6'5", he's got the hair, and he walks out on the beach with his wife, and he walks down, and all these kids see him, so they run down there, and he's talking to them, and the kids are just running around. And, the parents and the adults are leaving him alone. And so the beach is pretty busy, on this day. And a kid tosses Trevor a football and says, "Hey, Trevor, throw me a pass." And Trevor looks at him and says, "Go long." So the kid takes off down the beach. Trevor stands there and hits the guy in stride about 30 years. The kid's like 10. Hits him in stride like 30 yards down the beach. The kid catches it. The beach erupts, right? So it's one of those things where you don't think anybody's paying attention, but because here, if you're well known, if you're big with the Jaguars, or you're Cam Smith, or you're David Duval, people are going to leave you alone. But boy, you do something special like that, don't think people don't notice, and that's that's one of my favorite Trevor stories these days.
Hey, Sam, we are out of time for this segment, man. I would love to be able to touch base with you again in maybe 2 weeks or so, or as we get closer to the season. Every time you have a story that just blows my mind. Thanks so much for giving us some of your time.
Well, it's my pleasure. I'm still the Jacksonville representative on the Pro Football Hall of Fame committee, so I'll be in Canton for Tony Baselli's induction.
Nice.
First Jaguar ever, and I'm sure I'd be able to update you on that.
Oh,
that would be phenomenal.
Another
Love to
great
hear
story
that.
in the making. Sam, thank you so much, man. We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Yes, sir. Guys, as I mentioned earlier, not only is Mr. Sam Kavaris a legend in the sports reporting world, he's a columnist, reporter, anchor, journalist, but go check out samsportsline.com. His Twitter feed rolls right into that as well. Lots of great information here on samsportsline.com. Make sure you go check it out. He's not lying about these kingfish in this tournament.
Very impressive conversation, man. A very accomplished person, it seems like.
If I could be
humble. That's what I took away. It's humble.
I like that too.
And I like the fact
Down
that
to
he's, from a
he's
Reds
real,
fan
too.
Right, from a Reds fan. I grew up with Marty
Y'all
Brenneman,
have to be humble, though.
who shot from the hip. Like, he called it like he saw it, and I like that about Sam.
Yeah.
You don't get a whole lot in the media. Of that in the media today.
If we would have had, no doubt,
Like talking
no doubt.
like to the president of the Jaguars and telling him what he thinks and not being
Step
afraid
up,
of.
man.
That's
Come
awesome.
on.
Yeah, let's go. We do got to go to a break. I wish that we would have had time for him to retell that story that he told the first time that he ever came on about one of his first times meeting or just running into Urban Meyer. But great stuff as always. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, and we're going to get into the occupation thing I was talking about earlier.
To the left now. To the right.
It's the 5-year flyaway from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Let's Lance, my man, congratulations. How you feel about being caller number 5 today?
Good. I've been trying for a little while.
I love it. So you are entered in, and you've also won a $25 gift card to Rudy's Barbecue, as well as a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock. Man, we'll see you here soon.
All right, man. Thank you.
Keep listening to Win from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Spotty showers and thunderstorms, a blend of sun and clouds near 88 this afternoon. Southwest wind at 10, water temperature in the Gulf 87. Air temperature tonight around 78, mostly clear. Chance of showers and thunderstorms over the weekend, partly sunny. Highs near 90 degrees Saturday and Sunday. This weather forecast has been brought to you by KHS and Associates, your source for affordable health insurance. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
If you're looking for a career opportunity with one of the 25 fastest growing fast casual restaurants, it's time to join the team at Slim Chickens. Whether you're looking for a position in management or becoming a full-time or part-time team member, Slim Chickens would love to hear from you. They offer competitive wages, benefits, flexible scheduling, and more. Apply today at slimchickens.com/jobs. That's slimchickens.com/jobs. Slim Chickens is an equal opportunity employer.
Hi folks, I'm Tracy at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Santa called and he asked me to help everyone get ready for Christmas and avoid the stress and rush. So we've stocked the store and slashed the prices. All colored gemstones have been reduced 50 to 70% off. Emeralds, rubies, sapphires, amethysts, blue topaz, tanzanites, opals, and many more. And we are offering free 6-month layaway. Tracy's Fine Jewelry takes the stress out of the holidays. So shop now where Santa shops during our Christmas and July sale at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
Hi, it's Coach James Hale. Keeping your car looking great is easy as 1, 2, 3 at Blue Sky Express Car Wash. By joining their monthly wash club, you'll get the best bang for your buck. And just 2 car washes, your monthly membership pays for itself. Don't miss the summer deal where all your monthly memberships are 50% off on your first month, starting at $9.99 a month. Become a member today at Blue Sky Express Car Wash on Bat Beach Road, right next to Home Depot. Tell them Coach Hale sent you.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. You're riding shotgun with the Afternoon Underdogs. We're going to need some gas money. The Afternoon Underdogs.
Fill her up, please.
At 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs with AG, David Hayes, and me, Caveman.
You forgot my
Rick.
name, bro?
No, just pausing.
I think he wanted to say captain
Trying to
again.
slow it down.
Okay.
But I like the Cap'n, like I was saying, you should do it CAPN, like Cap'n Crunch.
Captain.
Captain
Dave.
Cap'n.
All my friends, like, if they were listening to the radio and they were like, and I said Captain Dave, they would be like, "Oh, that is funny, bro."
Yeah.
Because that's what they call me. It's not because I'm out there captaining boats, though. So.
Okay. Aye, sir.
aye, sir. Let's get into it, my man.
So, yeah.
Because we got some great stuff here from Professor Plum.
A couple segments ago, we mentioned about, besides Dalvin Cook and Jimmy Butler, who's another athletes who have names that fit an occupation, right? So I got one just right off the top.
Okay.
How about Donald Driver?
I like that one. That's a great one. I've got one that I'm not going to say what his name is, but he's the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Volunteers. If you don't know who I'm
Oldest
talking about.
occupation on the planet.
Yeah.
It is.
That's a great way to put it. If you don't know who I'm talking about, there's also, I believe, a cornerback or maybe safety for the Indianapolis Colts. You could just Google it.
Mm-hmm.
Just Google it, and you'll figure it out. My other one would probably be, we can go Matt Carpenter. That's,
resurgent
plain old
year.
plain. Oh, yeah, dude. I had to pick
He's
him up on
crushing
fantasy.
it with the
I'm
Yankees.
hoping that he continues to do the same.
As long as he's not doing it for the Cardinals.
I like
I'm good.
Donald Driver, though. That's a really good
I got one here.
Good.
Lawyer Malloy.
Lawyer Malloy. That's
first name, though, not last name.
Whatever. Still a name.
I hear you. But then you can go to, like, Hunter Renfro.
What about
for,
Ty
like, a
Law?
first name.
Ty Law. Does that work? Ty Law?
Ty Law. I mean, Law
Is
is
that
kind
lawyer?
of like a.
What
I like.
about-
I'm cool with first names being utilized as well.
How about
guys.
Joey Porter?
Because Joey Porter.
Porter. Yeah, Porter's somebody like at a car lot or somebody that moves cars around and
Okay.
moves stuff around a Porter.
That's not a bad one at all. That's actually one I haven't heard about or heard reading through some of the things. Professor Plum's got some great ones. And speaking of first names being utilized, how about Deacon Jones.
There you go. That's
Right.
a good name. Yeah.
That's a good one. He's also you got some of over there that you can read off.
Well, Professor Plum's got Jim Marshall as well for the Vikings.
Marshall, like
I
on
like
a golf
that.
course, yeah, or like a cop
Or like
type of
a-
person.
yeah, like
what
a
about
federal
there's another
marshal?
one, Curtis Painter?
Curtis Painter. That's a good. That's actually a really
Kyle
good one.
Farmer of the Cincinnati Reds.
For a few.
Kyle Farmer. That's a good one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got out there, man. See, that's the only problem is when you don't.
I'm waiting on Jeff and Chris to chime in on
Yeah, I know.
Facebook. They've been
That's the
chiming
three
in
that I
all
thought
day,
of
and
in the
then,
last little bit.
when
I thought that I had
we
a
need them, they're not
list.
there.
Yeah, right.
Jeff Fisher.
Jeff Fisher, that's a good one, man. And I got to give a shout out to a lot. I'm not even gonna lie.
Devin Booker?
At least one defend your stance question
Book
a
and
week.
stuff. Book it.
That's
Booking.
okay. It's not like a librarian or anything, but Powell Analytics on Twitter, he puts out some very just like engaging questions, and this one was on there today. And the first thing I thought of is the answer that I gave about the quarterback from Tennessee, and I was like, I mean, that's just too good to not put out there. But yeah, you know, he started off with Dalvin Cook, Jimmy Butler. Yeah, that's exactly who I'm talking about. Aaron Judge.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great one. Didn't even think about that one.
Yeah, Aaron Judge is a good one. You also got Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
Taylor.
it's not spelled the
Same way.
the right way. But I think because
Well, it's
Taylor in the occupational world is Tailor and they're Taylor. Let's see what else do we got here. Well, you used a farmer earlier, but Buck Farmer.
He's another Red.
Yeah, well, is he a Red?
Yeah. He's in the bullpen.
Okay, so he used to play with Detroit. You brought up Donald Driver, Dusty Baker.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Diamond Miller, like a Miller.
Yeah, yeah.
So Aaron Judge is probably that. Obviously, we just brought that one up. That's a really good one. How about Deontay Foreman?
Yeah.
Like being a foreman. That's
a good one.
That's some good stuff there. So as always, lots of fun getting into these things that they're not deciding what what the sports world is doing, but it's always fun. It's kind of like the segment that we do with the jerseys.
Sure.
Yeah.
And what you would have in your man cave. One day, I would like to go through. I think it was Brian Haddad that had brought it up. That's like, we should do one for each jersey number. You know what I mean? And that would take a long time.
Right.
But research, man, don't you guys like when you start researching, you just keep going sometimes.
Go down the rabbit hole.
The rabbit hole, man. The
Well,
rabbit
like you
hole
see
is
a lot of
serious.
times right now too is if you're watching like on Facebook and stuff, not on our Facebook, but just normal Facebook. When people are counting down the days until like when college football starts or NFL or NHL. So for instance, when there's 99 days left until hockey, somebody will throw up like a Gretzky jersey.
Sure. Yeah.
And then 98 to be person.
What are we,
one,
50 days away
98.
till NFL season
So
starts?
there's that kind of thing. You can get a laundry list of jerseys.
Yeah, man. Also, this segment brought to you by Bay Handyman Services. They listen better, plan better, build better. 850-753-5014. Also, reach them on their website, bayhandymanservices.com. They hold a 5-star rating. They'll do anything from hanging pictures to full house remodels. Let's go back to another defend your stance question, and then we'll get into we're gonna get into who you got, and I've got 4 comparable players that we're gonna pick in the NFL world, and then maybe some rapid fire after that. Who's starting week 1 for the Carolina Panthers? Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold.
Baker Mayfield.
You're saying Baker?
I don't think you trade for him just to sit him on the bench.
Okay.
They didn't pay much for him, so I think that it's probably be easier if when you go to training camp and you go, into the preseason, if Darnold's playing better and he wins the job, you got to start with him. You didn't pay Baker Mayfield a whole lot of money to begin with, and it's already kind of a malcontent because if you start him and then you got to yank him, then I think you're going to have some real problems on that team and in that locker room.
Hey, good stuff. We just got a text in from Michigan State Bruce as well, Jake Plummer.
There you go.
How about the
different spelling, but
Different spelling
Yeah,
too,
no, absolutely. But we've had a few of those. How about New York Yankees, just in general? It's not. Well, never mind. Being a Yankee isn't necessarily a occupation as much as it is.
Well, and then Rick's favorite baseball team would be go along the line with that oldest occupation, I think.
The Phillies?
Yeah.
I don't really.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Not following you.
Now we'll just move on.
Yeah. You'll have to clue me in. Inside jokes are not the greatest, but I'm ready to find out what that is. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We'll be back in just a few short moments. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Thank you guys so much for listening to us.
.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. This is Braves country.
This is unbelievable.
The All-Star break is over. Tonight, Charlie Morton, Austin Riley, and the Atlanta Braves take on the Los Angeles Angels. First pitch, 6:20. Coverage starts at 6 right after the Afternoon Underdogs. On your home for the 5-year flyaway to see the Atlanta Braves. It's ESPN Northwest Florida.
I'm Matt Glover with Aero Pest Service, and we are your family-owned and operated pest control company in Bay County since 1977. We can help you have a lawn that you can enjoy with your family. We can get rid of all the insects that destroy your parties. We can get rid of the weeds that give you anxiety, and we can fertilize your lawn and make sure that it's completely green and healthy, just the way you like it. Give us a call today at Aero Pest Service, 850-874-1900.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likas with today's Car Clinic Minute. America's flag waves red, white, and blue and stands for freedom. Well, the banners of racing sport colors and brandish messages of their own. And when we come back, I'll run them up the flagpole.
The Car Clinic Minute.
It's Bobby Likas Car Clinic, brought to you locally by Hewitt Tire and Auto.
Call 850-769-7323.
Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing.
Visit them online at HewittTire.com.
On Airport Road in Panama City.
That's 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
Just like Old Glory, the flags of racing have colors and messages too, and they're waved to communicate with drivers. Like on streetlights, green flags mean go. Yellow means caution and slow down, and red means stop the race. Blue flags tell contenders to let the faster driver overtake, and white says 1 lap to go. Racers' favorite flag, the checkered flag, is black and white and marks the finish line. Interestingly, the first checkered flag waved in 1890 was actually a tablecloth. It may have signaled the end of an impromptu Italian contest, but it was the beginning of a tradition. I'm Bobby Likas. Like us, you'll love us.
The next evolution in sports talk radio. It's the Afternoon Underdogs, broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Engage. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs here on ESPN Northwest Florida, 104.3. Also check us out in the Mariana area on 102.1. I am AG along with David Hayes and Caveman Rick. And Dave, we're going to get right back into some of these topics we had originally for the 5:15 segment, but you know how we do it here on the Underdogs.
Go with the flow, bro.
Go with the flow.
And
even when our phones blow up, we just go right with it.
Sometimes you just got to decline phone calls.
There you go. So, who you got, right? So, we've got 8 players here, NFL players. The first one you got here is obviously I'm a little more interested in than some of the others. But you've got Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson. Now, is this on your team, on your fantasy team? What are we...
I would say, like, if you were a GM or, you know what I mean, you're putting a team together and you've got a choice out of these 2 receivers and you can only pick one, who you're going to go with. And you can also use the fantasy aspect in it as well, because I love both sides.
Right.
You know what I mean? So who you got, Caveman?
Out of the 2 right now, I hate to say this. I mean, I know Adam's a Jamar Chase fan, but I think Justin Jefferson, he's just been in the league longer, a little bit more proven. We know Jamar Chase is a real good wide receiver, but he's only been around for like a year, so we'll see if he can continue, not have like a sophomore slump and whatnot.
So for me, I'm not far off from that answer. I think what Jamar Chase has done is amazing. What Justin Jefferson has done, you know what I mean? Like, man, think about the Eagles, right? They drafted Jalen Reagor instead of Justin Jefferson. And could you imagine what that team would be looking like? Do they even go after a Devontae Smith in a sense?
Did they even get A.J. Brown or something like that?
That's also a good point to the future. Also, how big of an influence on Jamar Chase's career that he's playing with his college quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, that chemistry there is just – Sam said it earlier with Travis Etienne and Trevor Lawrence. Like, they know each other. You know what I mean? So I do think that that's been a benefit for Jamar Chase, but at the end of the day, I think that kid was going to be a stud no matter what. Both of these kids are from LSU, by the way.
Right.
I would go with Justin Jets just because of, he's doing it with Kirk Cousins, and then he said something the other day. He was like, I think Devontae Adams is the best wide receiver in the league, but give me a year or two and I'll be the best receiver in the league. So he's still got the humble side of him in a sense, but aiming
But he
towards
still has the
top.
alpha dog like Kobe in him.
Yeah, well, exactly. So, and I don't think that normally you get both of those sides. I think it's either you're all the way, I am the best no matter what, no matter whoever is actually putting the best statistical season together and whatnot. I'm going to go with Justin Jets in this one.
I'm going with Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, he's my guy. I don't think you can go wrong with either of these guys either. I mean, if you were to swap them, right, put Chase on the Vikings and Jefferson on the Bengals, I don't think you see a big drop-off in terms of production from either of these guys.
Right.
So, but there is that caveat there with Burrow and Chase having that relationship. So I think that's why if I'm going in this situation and I do have Burrow, absolutely I'm going Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I love that. Let's move on to the next one.
All right. We've got Christian McCaffrey or Saquon Barkley. This one's interesting
Battle
to
of the
me.
injuries.
Right. This one, like when you posed it to me before the show, I thought this one is intriguing. I was curious to see what your guys' take on this would be.
Yeah, so I'll lead us off here. Man, this one is so tough because with Christian McCaffrey, the offense for the Carolina Panthers absolutely runs through him, right? They have great success when he's on the field and 100% healthy, and when he's gone, they just disappear. When Saquon Barkley has been, healthy for the Giants, it really hasn't changed very much in terms of wins and losses.
One good game last year against the Giants in overtime, or against the Saints in overtime, excuse me. But that was all I can remember.
So I don't know, because I thought so much of Saquon Barkley when he was coming out of Penn State. I thought he was maybe a little overhyped. I'm going to go with Christian McCaffrey in here just because of what I mentioned earlier, that when he's off the field, the offensive coordinator and the head coach can't come up with a game plan that does not involve Christian McCaffrey, or at least a good game plan.
Right. Well, both of those guys were very explosive in college. We knew that, and that's the reason why they got drafted where they did. Like I said, both of them have had injury woes and missed, a decent amount of games. I'm going, looking at it this way. Who has the better ceiling? And I think that's Christian McCaffrey. I think they're both about the same floor because they're out there a whole lot. But I think McCaffrey can do more than Saquon. I think basically Saquon's pretty much become a dud. I hate to say it, And Christian McCaffrey, if he can't stay healthy this season, he might be going that way too, and people might start looking at him that way. But if I had to pick one right now, it'd be McCaffrey.
I think just on, like you talked about the ceilings, I think McCaffrey has the higher ceiling than Barkley does, just because we've seen one good year from Barkley his rookie year. We've seen a couple good years from McCaffrey before the injuries took hold. So I think I'm going to go McCaffrey on this one.
We still have 2 breaks left?
No, just the one.
Oh, we just have one break? Okay, yeah. I was about to say, we got to get out of this segment.
No, we have one break left.
All right, cool. So we got a few minutes. I was like, boy, we are a little bit behind. Don't forget, coverage starts tonight, 6 o'clock for the Braves versus the Angels, 6:20 for the first pitch. You got Shohei Ohtani on the hill for the Angels, Charlie Morton on the bump for the Bravos. Shohei comes in with a record of 9-4, ERA of 2.38. Charlie Morton, record 5-4, ERA 4.45. I think that we're going to be getting some fireworks in Atlanta tonight, and I'm sure there's going to be fireworks after the game as well. But this is a game that you got to watch. Let's keep on going with who you got here, and then we're going to finish up the show today with rapid fire and a little bit of local as well. Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, who you go year 2 quarterback? Start with you, AG.
I'm going to go with Zach Wilson here. I think just because of the ceiling for, I think Zach Wilson is higher. Mac Jones is that system quarterback. I feel like he was surrounded by a ton of talent at Alabama, and he played well. Don't get me wrong. And I know he got the Patriots, helped get the Patriots to the playoffs last year, but I feel like that's his ceiling. I feel like he is where he's going to be for the next 3 or 4 years. I think Zach Wilson, with the right pieces around him, has the talent and the ability to exceed that. So.
Okay, you're wrong, but
okay, that's fine.
No, I'm just
this one's actually kind of tough for me. I mean, Zach Wilson, they had the Jets, not him, but the Jets had a really great offseason, got a lot more pieces, a lot more weapons to help them out. I'm picking this based off of the organizations they're playing for. I'll go with Mac Jones. Just to be honest, I mean, the Patriots are more stable franchise, stable coaching staff that's been there for a long time. They've had a culture and a way of doing things for quite a long time. The Jets have been, frankly, just a mess. And the only time, in any kind of memory they've been really good or done anything was, back when, Joe Namath was doing the finger wag. So just because of that reason alone, I trust the process or the organization more. So I go with Mac Jones.
Man, this one's tough. The reason why I say you're wrong is you're not wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is purely subjective. And with Zach Wilson, I think one of the biggest things is he's playing with the Jets, and like you mentioned, Caveman Rick, they've put some pieces around him. Let's see how that works out. I just don't have faith in what he can do. You know what I mean? And then another thing, like, you look at pretty boys in the league, right? And Tom Brady is as pretty boyish as he is now. Jimmy G is another one. But when I'm talking on Tom Brady, he did not start out as a pretty boy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that evolved over time. So there's that factor. I wonder, like,
I think the wife helped him with that a lot.
100%. Does Zach Wilson have what it takes to really get down to the nitty gritty and pull his team through tough situations? I don't know yet. Mac Jones, though, yeah, it's not, because here's the thing. Someone was saying something. They were talking about Stetson Bennett, and they were like, this Stetson Bennett, like, he's not even a top whatever quarterback. And I'm like, okay, at the end of the day, your job as a quarterback is not to look out there, to get out there and be beautiful, statistically speaking. You have one job. Win the game. And Tom Brady, a lot of the wins that they have come off the leg of Vinatieri or off the hands of Malcolm Butler. You see what I'm saying? Like, football is such a team sport. All sports, for the most part, are such a team sport that when you put the focus on one guy, it just doesn't tend to work out. So I'm going with Mac Jones for that reason, because he knows, because of all the talent that he had at Alabama as well, it was never on Mac Jones's shoulder as much as it was on Mac Jones's mind. And so I think that he has that capability, and he's also with a similar coach in Bill Belichick.
And can they keep him away from Cougars?
Can they keep Zach Wilson? Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm saying. When you graduate from BYU, you're a Cougar, man. Last one that we've got, and then we'll get to a break. Nick Chubb, which I don't know if anybody got to see the video today of him squatting. The bar's just bending. I'm like, so that was what ESPN kind of, emphasized was the bar. And I'm like, is that even, like an Olympic metal bar? Is that just like a strong plastic bar that they've got out there? Because that thing was bending. But Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon, who you got? We'll start with K-Man Rick. I'll go next, and then we'll end it off with AG.
This is another tough one because Chubb's had some injury issues. Hasn't been available quite a bit. But I think overall, again, I'll go with the ceiling line. He's got the better ceiling, I think, than the Joe Mixon. So for me, if I was going to pick one of these two, it's going to be Nick Chubb to me.
I think that Nick Chubb, being in the position that he's being in this year, is going to take a lot of carries, you know what I mean? As if Deshaun Watson isn't playing, which I don't foresee him playing. And so if we're talking about Jacoby Brissett, if we're talking about Josh Rosen, they're going to hand the ball off to him. So maybe in the realm of just carries and rushing yardage, yeah, you might look at it and be like Nick Chubb. And I think Nick Chubb is a top 4 or 5 back. But when it comes to system, I think Joe Mixon is in a better position. If he can replicate what he had last year, I'm going Joe Mixon.
I'm going Joe Mixon here simply because of what he can do coming out of the backfield with his hands and his route running. I mean, heck, he threw a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think his ceiling is actually higher because I don't think he's being used nearly as much as Nick Chubb is. And I know that the Browns have Kareem Hunt there as well, but Chubb, I believe, is we're going to see kind of a slowdown with him here in the next year or two.
I love it, man. Hey, Atlanta Braves. Coverage starts 6 o'clock. First pitch, 6:20. We're talking Shohei Ohtani. We're talking Charlie Morton. We're talking Atlanta Braves. Baseball is back for the second half. Quick timeout. We're going to be right back. Wrap it up with a little bit of local and maybe some rapid fire.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Maybe what works is running out of options. Kevin Durant doesn't have any other options. He has a 4-year contract.
Right.
Kyrie Irving, if he ever wants to get paid hundreds of millions of dollars again, has to do something this year. And no one has run out of options like Ben Simmons has. So maybe, just maybe, you put this band
They
together
make it work for
one
each other.
desperate
Yes.
year.
Greeny, weekdays 2 to 4, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Safety is important, not just for you, but also for your family. Emerald Coast AMSL specializes in women's and children's safety and self-protection. They offer a variety of products from stun guns, striking tools, pepper sprays, including GPS-enabled sprays, personal alarms, safety whistles, and more. Give the gift of self-protection and contact Michelle and Rick today, 850-358-2810, or visit their website at emeraldcoastdamsel.com. Independent Damsel Pro for Damsel in Defense.
Dr. Chad Mitchell, orthopedic surgeon specializing in sports medicine and joint replacement of the knee, shoulder, and hip. He serves our local athletes and our community. Southern Orthopedic Specialist has been the leader in orthopedic care for over 20 years. New patients are welcome. Call 850-769-KNEE to schedule an appointment. More about Dr. Mitchell and Southern Orthopedic Specialist is available on their website, southernorthopedic.com. Southern Orthopedic, getting you back in the game.
That Boot Store invites you to stop by and help celebrate the opportunity to live in the greatest country on God's green earth, the good old USA. That Boot Store is proud to carry the highest quality American-made boots, along with a complete line of Western accessories. Next to Billboard Kia on 15th Street, open Tuesday through Thursday 9 till 5, Friday and Saturday 9 to 5:30. And remember what Joe always says, put Jesus in your life every day.
Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, this is Tim.
Do y'all sell bait?
Yes, we seasonally stock live shrimp, live bull minnows, live sand fleas, live fiddler crabs, earthworms, night crawlers, crickets. We also stock frozen shrimp, sand fleas, mullets, squid, pre-rigged ballyhoo, bonita, stingray, cigar minnows, Boston mackerel, Spanish mackerel, and a few other miscellaneous baits. It's worth the drive to buy premium locally sourced bait from Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, located directly off Highway 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach.
Now back to the most dangerous afternoon show on terrestrial radio.
Danger's my middle name.
It's illegal in 5 states. The Afternoon Underdogs, inside the Rib Crib Radio Room. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Come into this segment like your hair's on fire.
No.
We'll go.
You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, along with Adam Goff, David Hayes. I'm Caveman Rick. This is a local segment. We'll start talking about some Mosley volleyball, aiming for a return to Fort Myers. The Dolphins won the Class 5A state finals in November of 2021, and they'll return 11 of their players, all but 3 graduated seniors from the championship team. They still have 2021 Class 5A Player of the Year, Alicia Fingal, who is also, I hope you're pronouncing your name right, by the way, who is also returning for her senior year. The Dolphins will have an added test this season as they move up from Class 5A to 6A. It's pretty cool. Head coach Michelle Mask has added some help this summer as Mosley alum and University of Florida outside hitter Taara Caesar, who played with the U.S. national team last summer, is back home to help her coach our high school team. And Mosley will open their 2022 fall season with a home match against 9-time defending 1A state champs Sneads on August 22nd.
I love it, man. Real quick, I do got to get into Addictive Elite. Back to the Final Four. I'm talking about the Thomas Guided squad. They're reaching another Final Four in the USFA World Series, punching their ticket this morning with their second consecutive Final Four appearance. We've got a pitching staff anchored by up-and-coming senior Robbie Van and two up-and-coming sophomores, Lily Cobb and Reagan Roberts. Man, they did a really good job naming her. I love double name. You know what I'm saying?
Alliteration.
Like, yeah. When you go with the R and the R, I love that. While the defense hasn't played their best ball, these pitchers have been spinning it well enough to get outs and not bleed out in the first inning where teams normally tend to lose ball games. The offense has come alive with the past 4 wins, led by Dakota Kilpatrick. She's been blistering the ball when she's up and had a few long balls as well. 2 of our pitchers, Van and Cobb, they really have played small ball well after they got into a little bit of trouble. That was in their 2 losses in pool play. They've yet to play their best ball, but they find themselves competing on Championship Saturday, giving themselves the opportunity to repeat as World Series champions. We are so excited. We're so proud of them, and so is Coach Guidus. They've been growing right before his eyes. Never underestimate the heart of a champion. That is good stuff, man.
Absolutely.
Really
inspiring.
I'm proud of those guys, man. Like Coach Hutchinson, Coach Guidus, that whole organization is just, it's always easy for a coach to kind of take credit or whatever, but when the coach is putting the credit on the players, it just means a lot more, and it makes those kids even more juiced up to play for coach.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when you can get the kids to buy in, it's not a fluke. It's because the coaching staff has put a product out there that they can be proud of themselves. So
I think it makes it easier too when they buy in because they're actually having fun and it doesn't seem like work all the time when you're actually putting in the effort and practicing and doing all the hard stuff.
I love it, man. So a big shout out to them. They're going to be playing tomorrow. I wish you would have hit me with the game times. I'm not exactly sure what time they're going to be playing tomorrow. Coach Guidus, if you're listening, hit me with that because I got about 4 minutes till we go off the air. Reminder again, Shohei Ohtani, Charlie Morton, 6 o'clock. Right after the Afternoon Underdogs coverage will start. First pitch at 6:20 tonight. Robinson Cano getting the start after the All-Star break at second base tonight. What do you guys think of that move? I mean, a guy who went from the Mets, was getting buku amounts of money this year, then gets DFA'd, I believe. Padres pick him up and DFA'd again. Now he's on gets traded to the Braves, and the Padres and the Mets are paying majority of the man's salary.
If he can even give you a third of what he was, with the Yankees and Mariners, I think it's a good move. I mean, he's going to bring veteran leadership to a ball club that, lost Freddie Freeman, which was their leader, and I'm not saying that Robinson Cano can be that leader that Freddie was, but it helps to have somebody that's been there and done that.
Yeah, I'll echo most of that stuff. I think the leadership and like the help out like in the clubhouse and in the dugout is going to mean a lot more, not so much to play on the field. He's an older guy. He's got a lot of wear and tear on that body, so I don't think you're going to expect a lot of him at all on the field. I think it's more for like the leadership, the mentoring aspect of some younger players, and that's why they went and got him. Plus, they're not paying nothing for him.
Well, keeping it right here with baseball, what do you guys think is next for Juan Soto? Not what's next. Does he get traded this year? Does he? Do the Nationals not find a trade partner? Because the Yankees and the Mets have pulled out because they don't want to give up their top 3 prospects. I've even heard some bold predictions from MLB Network that Shohei and the Angels and the Braves will work out a trade for Shohei to come to Atlanta. I cannot see that happening. And if they're going to give away Michael Harris, who has come on in a big way in the first half of this season, Spencer Strider, what's the point? What's the point in doing something like that? Because you're going to blow up for basically, to have this anomaly. A guy, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's going to sell tickets. There is that. And
you're already selling tickets, though. You're selling out almost every home game.
And it's beautiful,
I don't think he's going to get moved. he's already turned down bunches of money. Nobody, or there's going to be very few teams that are going to be able to offer enough to actually get him and pay him as well on top of that.
I think if there's a team out there that's looking for a Juan Soto, it's going to be a team like the Mariners.
Could you
you're
imagine
gonna
J-Rod,
you're
Juan
gonna
Soto,
look
same
in,
outfield,
right? But I mean, you're looking at a team like that is hot and is close and is right there and probably has a pretty decent pool of players in their farm system that they can offer the Nationals. But somebody like the Mariners, I think, would be a great fit for Juan Soto to go to.
Real quick, if the Yankees-Astros meet in the playoffs, who wins the series? Because the Astros won the season series 5-2.
Yankees.
I say the Yankees. They're just way too hot right now and too good. Oh, another thing about Soto, hey, maybe just across town and go to Baltimore to the Orioles.
Hey, not a bad idea at all. All right, we're out for the day. We'll be back Monday at 4 o'clock. Coach James Hill will be live with you 7 a.m. Monday. Don't forget to tune in for the 5-year flyaway, 8:15 in the morning, 4:45 in the afternoon.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Dan Patrick Show.
James Harden, he agreed to a 2-year, $68 million contract. People have looked at this and say, well, he's helping out the 76ers. You know how you could help out the 76ers? Show up in shape. A hometown discount is nice, but I'd rather you push yourself away from the hometown buffet.
The Dan Patrick Show. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Henry, I need a place where I can get away from everything and work on my pottery. I need a she shed.
A she shed?
You know, small building out in the backyard. A she shed.
Best Way Portable Buildings can site build a she shed, a man cave, a workshop, a game room, and more. Just north of Harts Marine on Highway 231. Best Way Portable Buildings, keeping husbands out of the doghouse since 1989.